All right, greetings, ladies and gentlemen. We are delighted to kick off yet another thought provoking session on connecting the dots. First and foremost, we extend our gratitude to our esteemed speakers for their participation in this panel discussion. A warm welcome to all. Ms. Prableen Kaur, Head HR at Imperial Auto Industries Limited. Mr. Setu Shah, Product Strategist at Oracle. Ms. Ruby Khan, Head Culture, Learning, Talent and DEI at Luminous Power Technologies Private Limited. Unfortunately, she will not be able to attend the webinar due to an unforeseen personal emergency. In today's competitive business environment, creating and sustaining a high performance culture is critical for organizational success. A high performance culture fosters an environment where employees are motivated, engaged, and aligned with the company's goals. This only drives productivity but also enhances innovation and customer satisfaction. Our panelists would share their views on this insightful topic, building a high performance culture. HRAI welcomes you all on to the session on connecting the dots. To know more about HRA and its events, I would request all our participants to visit the link and details posted in the chat window. It would be great to have all the participants' feedback. We will be running a poll before the Q&A session. Request all the participants to kindly give your feedback on the session. I now take the privilege of introducing our moderator for today, Lieutenant Commander Nitika Rai, Senior Technology Consultant at Ernst Young. Lieutenant Commander Nitika Rai is presently working with Ernst Young as Senior Technology Consultant. She was commissioned as Sub-Lieutenant in the Indian Navy in July 2010, got retired as Lieutenant Commander from the Logistic Branch of Indian Navy in July 2021. He has done a PG Diploma in International Supply Chain Management from Symbiosis Pune, postgraduate diploma in HR&M Marketing Management from Lal Bahadur Shastri Institute of Management Technology, a certification course on global supply chain management from Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, Lean Six Sigma Green Belt and Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, and also SAP certified. She is presently pursuing doctorate in business administration from Rushford Business School, Switzerland. She has received many awards: Best Woman of Excellence 2022, Naval Officer Operational Expert, Powerful Woman, Award, Exceptional Women of Excellence at Women Economic Forum, and Lady Leadership in Security Award by Central Association of Private Security, and recently received Women Achievers Award by HR Association of India. You can also follow her on LinkedIn. The link for the same has been shared in the chat window. Now, without wasting much time, we'll hand over the platform to Ms. Nitika. Over to you, Nitika.
Hi, Faisal, for having me here again. Thank you, HRAI and uh, the team HRAI, I would say. To start with, I have with me, Setu and Prableen, and I was just going through the introduction, and I was like, oh my God, there's so much to talk about, and an hour and 45 minutes would not be much. But let's see, the topic is very interesting, and I was just reading through it. Because it's more of soft skill. I'll understand how technical it is from Setu and Prableen going forward, but I would say that culture does not make people; it's people who makes culture, right? So let me introduce first Prableen Kaur, Ms. Prableen Kaur, Head HR, Imperial Auto Industries Limited. Prableen is an HR professional with 19 years of experience with managing change and shaping the organization in the acquisition phase. She has a keen interest in classical dance and enjoys playing with colors. She is a mental health advocate and associated with organization promoting awareness in the field of psychology and mental health. You can follow her on LinkedIn, and the link for the same has been shared in the chat window.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Prableen. Thank you for joining.
Sure. Thank you so much for so candid introduction. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now switching to Setu Shah, Mr. Setu Shah. He's a product strategist uh, from the company Oracle. Setu works in the global product strategy team for Oracle HCM product at Oracle. His mission is to increase the scope, scale, and span of his contributions to generate value. He empowers partners, helps organizations on their digital HR transformation journey. He had the opportunity to help clients adopt, implement HR solutions ranging from a headcount of 99 to 500K across India, US, UK, Canada, Australia, UAE, Saudi, Oman, Ghana, South Africa, Singapore, etc. Oh my God. He has engaged in solution architecture, business process reengineering, technology strategy, design development, implementation, HR transformation, and program management of large system implementations across varied industries, including banking, BFSI, hospitality, construction, telecommunication, manufacturing, healthcare, government sector, property development, oil and gas, etc. You can follow him. You can follow him on LinkedIn. The link for the same has been shared on the chat window. Thank you, Setu, for joining. Nice to have you here.
Thanks a lot, Nitika. I would, appreciate the long introduction, and yeah, I mean it's been amazing set of sessions that HRAI generally conducts, and pretty excited to be part of the panel here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining, panelists. Without wasting much time, let's start with some couple of questions which are really interesting, and I would love to hear your thoughts, starting from Prableen now. All right. The first question is, what steps, Prableen, can an organization take to ensure its vision and values that are clearly communicated and understood by all employees? Prableen, over to you.
Hi, everyone, and good afternoon to all the participants. At the outset, I would like to apologize for this technical glitch that I'm facing at the moment. Not able to see all of you and even to, present my video to all of you. So yeah, beautiful start on values on the vision statement of the organization. So if I would have to say that how to ensure the vision and values are communicated very well across the organization, whether embedded and they scintillate as DNA of the organization, not just a rhetoric. Yeah, I would like to quote here a very beautiful model of Edgar Schein. This is a change model which actually is based on the aspects of artifacts, espoused values, and beliefs. So, how we translated in that complete model into the actionables, we translated the complete model into 4 E's. So, for the ease of everyone, I would just define what 4 E's were. It is enliven, it's educate, encourage, and engrave. So, how to communicate vision and values? We need to create a lot of visual impact in the organization. So, that's exactly is bringing values to life. So, the first E is enliven. Yeah. So, make them visible in the hook and corner of the organization, maybe through posters, maybe through visual impact, logos, business card, whatever. So then is educate. So we need to run awareness programs on the vision statement and the values defined for the organization. Provide literature of each and everything and what was the history attached to it, why we zero down on these values, why this vision statement. Remember, the mission statement is the foundation for defining the vision statement of the organization and values and behaviors to support the vision and mission or mission and vision of the organization. So next is, okay, we have educated people, we have made hook and corner scintillate with our value system, sensitized. So what next? We really need to encourage them. So how to encourage them? We really need so that those people, all the employees or the peers or our external or internal stakeholders, they start living the values. So we just sort of created storyboards, celebrate the value weeks, yeah, celebrate, created value champions or value ambassadors in the organization. So a week dedicated to each value and then capturing the stories of the employees, which were displayed on the storyboards, published on the intranet, published on our website. So just celebrating them. And that was a process to connect each and every employee to the values of the organization. So as I mentioned, that values just not need to be a rhetoric, just present on the piece of the paper or decorated on our web page, but those needs to be imbibed and live in the organization. Each and every member of the organization should be ambassador. And for that, the important is leaders needs to walk the talk. They need to present that how they are imbibing values in their day-to-day working and in their behavior in the organization, how they are conducting, how they are connecting with the employees, how they are communicating with them. So that is what actually helps us make sure that values are actually rolled out, not just rolled out in the organization, but now employees are connected to the values. So then is how to celebrate. Let's celebrate, reward the employees for bringing in those stories from their personal sphere, from their work sphere, and present it to the organization. Yeah. So rewarding is very, very important. That brings the encouragement. Supposedly there is an organization which says that we are employee centric, or my vision is that I would be a great place to work in next 3 years. Yeah, that's a vision statement for me. But actually, when we are behaving with them, we are not so compassionate, we are not so considerate, we are not valuing their contribution to the organization. So there would be disconnect. So it's very important to celebrate each and every act of the employee, each and every contribution of the employee to the organization to, yes, prove that we are employee centric. Yeah. So reward system is very, very important. And last, I would say that let's bring those values to our recruitment panelists also when we are hiring employees from outside, how they are aligned to the value system of the organization. This would actually help uh, getting those people who have some shared value system with the organization, and they would be able to contribute very well. Yeah, so these are the various process parameters. So I would say that communicating the vision for transformation of the organization, we need to have the vision statement, which should be very clear and concise. And more important, when we are defining the vision for the organization, plug the employees, plug the stakeholders into the process of defining the vision statement. Because first are they people with whom we will conduct interviews or sessions to understand what they are actually expecting from the organization. So understanding the perspective of the employees is also very important while defining the vision statement. So once the buy-in is there, then creating that alignment with the complete vision statement would be very, very easy for the organization also. So engaging employees while the vision statement is in making is very important. So then is celebrating the successes on the way. That's one way of making sure that values and the vision statement has been rolled out in spirit, not just in letter, across the organization. And certain interventions like value champions, value ambassadors, celebrating the values, we capturing their stories, someone who actually stood up and went extra mile uh, to uh, to fulfill the customer requirement, and he has created customer experience. So we need to capture those stories, display them so that others should learn, imbibe, and connect to them. So I believe that's a very objective way, objective model, which has been translated into 4 E's to make sure the values and vision of the organization scintillate in every hook and corner of the organization, and every employee should actually be value ambassador of the organization. Yeah, thank you so much. Any other perspective you would like to add? We can continue. Yeah.
You've covered everything, Prableen. You've covered all the levels of management. I was just remembering, the top level is covered, middle and lower level, all three levels are covered, and then you were talking about 4 E's, which is again, with a change model, which you brought out here. You were also talking about that. I think it's more of communication, more of visual, thing which the leaders should, and walk the talk, which is again very, it's easy to say, but it's difficult to do. I think that's what I think. People don't have time, or you're not prioritizing it that much. But most of the leaders are doing it right. And I'm happy to learn from you that communication is important. When I was in services, we were used to go and talk to our Jawans about their families, because you talked about empathetic attitude. This sympathetic attitude, once an order is an order, that's okay, but counseling them, talking to them, brings a lot onto the table, okay, for the organization. So thank you so much for enlightening us, Prableen. I'll be moving on to Setu now. The next question to you, Setu, the first question to you is, how can companies ensure that their core values are reflected in everyday business practices? Setu, over to you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Nitika. Lovely perspective from Prableen. And as you rightly said, I think she covered a lot of different levels. I'll try to go a little more on the practical side of things, where, say, for example, every organization, they firstly need to have at least two different set of values. One is the core value that they exude, and the second one could be the aspirational value. Generally, in absence of these, there are organizations that totally rely on their aspirational values, and it looks very different in terms of how they operate across different functions and across different levels as well. So that would be the first thing in terms of bringing the most uh, authentic self, even from an organization perspective, at work, not just limited to individuals, but even from an organizational perspective. And values, I think, as we all understand, it comes at a cost. So is an organization willing to pay the price to stick to its values? So to give you an example, I think integrity has been a value for most organizations, right? But it generally comes at a huge cost, where you see some malpractices in some departments, some levels, in your organization. And what is your tolerance limit, across some of these aspects? um, Across a lot of services organizations today, simplicity is one of their core values. And immaterial of any document that you pick from there, from them, right from a contract document to a policy manual, or an employee benefits manual. I think all of them run across pages with a lot of legality, wrapped around it. Whereas I think more from a customer perspective, employee perspective, it could be simplified, and it could be far more simple to exude, the value of simplicity that they have. So that would be my first bit in terms of defining values, which are a little more clear, a little more authentic, and they are something that is core from an organizational perspective to allow them to perform better. That would be one. Next, I would believe that it needs to be ingrained in the operations as well. So I remember one of the value trainings and sessions that I was a part of. It was a lot of fun. So instead of asking us or telling us what those values mean, they had a lot of these role play and case studies given to us, saying that, okay, this is a case study or this is a role play. Can you now tell us which of the values are imbibed, or which of the values are followed or demonstrated across some of these scenarios, or across a role play that somebody is doing, for example. And that eventually triggers those behaviors and triggers those change in culture as well in the organization, that slowly translates into operations as well. So you will find such individuals and such organizations slowly creating, some of the user manuals that they have for customers a lot more simpler. You'll have employee benefits plan, employee policies, which are far more simpler in more simple languages and stuff like that. So that's how organizations can operationalize a lot of the values that they have. Um Last two bits, I think communication and training is something that Prableen touched on very well. Um, I would believe that leadership needs to exude, these values, and they can do that by taking some of the hard calls, which ideally, you'll not have a lot of other people taking. So, say for example, every value kind of comes at a cost. There is somebody paying for it. When somebody does not toe the line, or when the values are not followed, uh, there is misinterpretation, miscommunication around a lot of these. And how does the leadership tackle that? Do they penalize the wrong behaviors, or do they reward the right behaviors? And as I think most of the HR professionals understand that life is not black and white. It's different shades of gray. So doing both together kind of may or may not help. Doing only one in terms of rewarding good behaviors will push a different kind of behavior as compared to penalizing the wrong behaviors. So it's something that needs to be calibrated really, really well. And that's where leadership, along with a lot of coaching from the HR teams, comes into play. Last but not the least, across a lot of premier organizations, what I have seen is they also include some bit of corporate values in employees' performance and developmental goals as well. So rather than just talking about targets, IPs, and stuff like that, they even have some of these, as you said, I think softer aspects or core aspects of an organization as part of a performance conversation, or as part of a developmental goal. So yeah, these were some of the pointers that I had in terms of identifying clear goals and being more and more authentic about it, integrating them to organizational operations, leadership exuding values, and lastly, having it as part of performance and developmental goals as well. And that's quite innovative. That's quite tricky for a lot of HR professionals, as well as the organizational leadership to execute.
Thank you so much, Setu. And I never thought of, this angle, you coming up with, such a, it sounds integrity. It sounds so normal. We never know that it comes. Actually, I never know that it comes at a cost. And, we talked about sympathy and, all those kind of jargons. 10 core values of the organization, and you mapping it with, and actually going practical. That's what organization is doing, right? And your answers combined with probably it makes it all okay. And I think you both have covered it very nicely. Thank you so much, Setu, for bringing this aspect in front of the audience. Thank you so much. Coming on to Prableen for the next question. What role, Prableen, do vision and values play in driving employee motivation and engagement? Over to you, Prableen.
Oh, it's very interesting question also.
Yeah.
Setu just covered about performance and development plans to be integrated, values, visions, mission, goals, everything. Yeah. So, how do employees feel motivated? How do employees feel engaged? Yeah. So I always believe in one statement that and values form the bedrock of the business. And I would say values form the bedrock of the society, values form the bedrock of the micro society, values form bedrock of the smallest unit of society is a family. Yeah. From where the society actually begins. The first society is within these walls, which is a unit family. Yeah. So values form the bedrock of all these units, which combine together form the culture of the society. And similarly, the organizations get groomed. So, how do employees feel motivated? Even when we call someone for interview, a prospective candidate, yeah, they also go through the website to understand the value system of the organization and do certain checks about how the organization culture is. Because values, culture, what is culture? Culture is sum total of values, beliefs, and behaviors which are derived from those values. And who all are those people? They are all employees who together, based on the value system, based on their behaviors, form the culture of the organization. So new perspective candidates also, they do certain checks to understand that my personal value system is supported by the organizational value system, or we both share the same value system, be it be trust, integrity, honesty, dedication, commitment. Employees tend to check that before they join the organization. Yeah. So that actually is the first step of encouraging and motivating the talent from outside to the organization. A very crucial role which values, which is the base of the culture of any organization, plays. Yeah. So it's very, I would say it's extremely difficult if we don't have these important guidelines in place. We can't even build a trusted brand in the society. Yeah. So this is where it plays so important role that at the same time, um, the values can also be linked with the performance appraisal system. Now, how the employees would get motivated with the performance presence of values in the performance appraisal system. Yeah. So this is what actually derives them to perform. This is what actually connect them to the values of the organization. So the value which form the relationship in the organization, you say trust, like Setu mentioned, integrity. Now, trust, commitment, and dedication. Most of the times, we in the organization do not outperform or perform just by virtue of holding position designation, but we are able to perform well in those dynamic relationships because we share some common chord with each other, and that common chord makes all of us perform in the organization, which is so dynamic, which is so changing, which is so evolving in every moment. So I would say the person is personally attracted to the values of the business they're going to work for or they're actually working for. They're likely to be much more motivated to go to extra mile at the workplace. Yeah, I would say there is quality. Sometimes quality as a way of life is one of the values of the organization. But on the shop floor, we are facing rejections outright. But I'm from the manufacturing background, so I can talk only about the shop floors. Yeah. So we are facing some rejections on the shop floor. Would the employee scintillate with the value of the organization? So that value of the organization, would that motivate the employee to work for that organization? If organization is actually not taking right steps in the direction and it is just some beautiful word written on the paper. So employees are motivated by the behavior which is exuded by the leadership team of the organization. That is what motivates them the most. If values are exhibited in day to day actions, day to day life, that is what is going to set in belongingness to the organization and motivates the employee to perform and continue working for that organization. Being defined as employee centric organization, we talk about the mental well-being today so much about the organization. Then we talk about inclusiveness at the workplace. But if we are not valuing the different perspectives which are being given by different people from varied races, ethnicities, or genders in the organization and not giving them right space to voice out their opinions, then that policy or that value of inclusiveness would stay as a word. So the crux is that if we think that values can inspire and motivate the employee, the only way is to bring values to life. They should not be beautiful golden words written in some policy booklet or decorated on the web pages. They should actually be exhibited in our day-to-day actions. And one of the process parameters here is the performance appraisal process. Yeah. If we have values very much mapped in the performance appraisal process, which encourages them to cite examples uh, during the quarterly discussions or the performance differentiator dialogues, and they can cite out, yeah, how I have lived, and he can state those examples. That would give him an edge, and that is where everyone is performing, but potential to be a leader is a very, very softer aspect. So where the right behaviors and right value system is exuded by the person, how much he has imbibed the organization culture, how much he's ready to impact the organization culture positively would define his growth journey in the organizations. So that is where the values are playing so important role in the organization. Even in the recruitment process today, employer tends to check with the perspective and that how he is aligned, what are his personal motivators, or what triggers that motivation for him to go to extra mile, and what is the personal value system of that individual, whether it is aligned to the value system of my organization. That is what decides that the chord strings are aligned and they can create symphony in the longer run by being part of the system. So I would say a couple of things. Yeah. Motivation, definitely yes. Engagement, definitely yes. Values inspire motivation and engagement in the employee. It defines its growth journey in the organization, a crux. Uh, it forms the base of conducting dialogue with the peers. It forms the base of conducting dialogue with the colleagues, with the subordinates. Uh, 3 or 4 values which I mentioned: trust, integrity, commitment, and dedication or transparency in the communication. Yeah, helps engaging with your team members very well, helps engaging with the leadership team very well, helps engaging with the subordinates very well, and your peers very well. So if these values are scintillating in the organization and transparent and open communication is encouraged in the organization, so we can have relations beyond the official boundaries and touch the personal space, which can support us grow together in the organization. So I would say engaging with our peers and team members goes a long way if we have shared value system, obviously towards attaining the common goals. So this is a crux which I would like to say, that both values inspire both the areas, motivation also, and long-term engagement of the employee with the organization also. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prableen. And
Hey, just
uh,
jumping in, Nitika, I loved the example of a shop floor that Prableen brought in. I mean, so often, across all types of uh, organizations, we see that an employee, when a customer comes with a grievance or a query, they get a jolt of loyalty, and they want to save cost for their organization at times at the cost of not being customer centric. So I mean, that could be another thing that a lot of us could think of, that what brings that jolt of loyalty for an employee to save cost for the company absolutely naturally, instead of being customer centric. So I mean,
Yes.
just something for us to think about.
Setu,
Yeah,
it's a double-edged sword, I
I
would
know. Yeah.
say. Yeah, what happens is delivery is sometimes so important on-time delivery, to save on
Yeah.
the freight. We just want to deliver on time. We don't want to fizzle out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And these people would tend to find the ways out, bypass certain process, fasten the process. And that is where, culture plays very important role. Why are they doing this? Someone somewhere is actually accepting this kind of behavior.
Yeah.
That's why they tend to uh, do such shortcuts, which can be so detrimental. If I'm a part of automobile industry, if those components are going into four-wheelers, two-wheelers, marines, and we're not, yeah. And if we bypass certain things, and that eventually gets bypassed at the customer end also, then it goes for what? Some accident and a good recall, which is a huge cost to the
Yeah.
brand, huge cost
Definitely.
to the brand, and huge penalty for the supplier. So important, why I cited this example is that we should not be tolerant about certain behaviors. If the employee has this indication that this behavior would be accepted and just went by without any penalty, then they would tend to repeat. In the past, I think safety culture is not now a new thing. We have been talking about it so much. Yeah, Posh, it's been already rolled out in place, and still at some places it needs to be strengthened. But what it is, we will not tolerate such kind of behavior in the organization. We will not compromise on the safety. We will not tolerate nuisance under this umbrella of Posh. If the management decides and takes that pledge that they're not going to tolerate, such behavior would automatically get eliminated from the organization. So it is somewhere we have to actually form. That's why a vision statement needs to be tweaked, needs to be revisited every 2 or 3 years, because uh, socio-political environment changes, your customer requirements changes, internal perspective of the employee changes. So this vision statement needs to be calibrated so that it should stay dynamic, it should stay supportive to the mission statement of the organization. Yeah, that's where it plays very important role. And value needs to be refreshed. One time program will not help. That needs to be rechecked, refreshed. So this gives a clear message to our employees, to the complete community of the organization, that the leadership is really, really very serious about the values of the organization. And that's where the whole change in behavior will be so eminent in the organization. Yeah, thank you.
Oh my God. Uh, I was like understanding, Setu and Praveen, and I think it's more of something which is from within. Like if something is not
Absolutely.
happening correct, I think like an open door policy, go ahead and talk. I think speak about it, right? Before writing, just go get up from your chair and talk. I think that sounds very easy to some, and there are junior law who are not able to do that, but then they need a kind of a guidance. I think to me, I think it's more of personal, like the values which I 9 hours of work in office and then some 2-3 hours in home. So 9 hours is more effective. The way I'm reacting for 9 hours will take I'll take those qualities from there and then react in the home. So I think it's more of internal, that how you respond to the situations in the organization, and talk about it if it's not happening the way you want. uh, I'm not sure, I might be wrong, but that's my thought process.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's our personal choice. Sometimes we get intimidated by the external environment, and
Exactly.
instead of responding to the situation, we tend to react most of the
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
And responding to the situation also requires a lot of training, because
Exactly.
we all are evolving in the process. Yeah,
Absolutely.
maybe over a period of time when we are put in certain situations again and again, we also learn that what mistake we did last time, so how to tackle it this time. So it's a lot of learning ground, and we as human beings are also evolving with age, with learning, with experience, with certain trainings, with coaching. So all these things play very important role. Yeah, definitely, it's a choice.
Thank you. Okay, coming to Setu for the next question. Setu, for you, it's what are the key elements of collaborative workflows?
Wow. Okay. So, uh, yeah. So I think collaboration kind of needs to be imbibed in the culture itself to begin with, and I think it's something that every organization today strives for, along with a lot of agility. So I think one of the key aspects of or key elements of this is going to be organizational structure in terms of how are you creating that culture of psychological safety, how are you modeling your different departments and different functions, and how are you creating some of those shared goals and shared responsibilities, as Praveen mentioned earlier as well, right? In terms of firstly people, I touched on organization structure. I'll touch on people as well. Again, here diversity in terms of skills, in terms of experiences in experiences could be related to their previous employers, could be related to the kind of roles that they have done, projects that they have done, educational background, and cross-functional people within a specific team or across teams as well, is something that is absolutely essential from a fruitful collaboration point of view. Now, something that works, that at least I've seen working pretty well, is allowing a lot of at times internal transfers as well, because I think as organization we all want our employees to build a lot of relationship across different teams, and that happens quite organically when a lot of internal transfers are encouraged. They end up building a lot of heritage relationships across the organizations, at the same time being cross functional and being multidisciplinary skilled as well. Uh, so having, say, for example, smaller number of people as a part of a team could be one aspect. Having complementary and supplementary I don't use the word team here, but I'm calling it as a cohort, because it could be part of these folks could be part of different departments, teams, functions, verticals, and stuff like that. Um, Having a common initiative or a purpose that kind of binds all of these folks together. Now it's at times, in, say for example, services industry, or for that matter even in manufacturing industry, you have say for example in services industry you have very fixed performance targets, like your billable hours, right? Nitika would give a smug or a smile on this one, right? Your billable hours at 80, 85, 90% has to be it. Now when you have that as an individual goal, how do you expect an employee to contribute to somebody else's initiative where they may not get billable hours, as in a services industry? At the same time, you pick any other industry which is non-services, let's say manufacturing, etc. They may have some very fixed firm targets in terms of sales, quality checks, services, and stuff like that. Again, we are quite used to creating those individual contributor performance goals that kind of drives a lot of people at times, and that could do more with a little more flexibility in terms of having shared goals of not 100%, but at least maybe 20-25%, where people can contribute to different initiatives, different agendas, where they can be recognized for it. And that's where I think even earlier I spoke about a comprehensive evaluation of employees, and thereby guiding, coaching, and mentoring them to contribute across different facets of an organization. Uh, Lastly, I think having mutual accountability as part of a cohort is going to be extremely important, where an accountability is something that just drives people. They feel that sense of ownership even across an initiative that is not spearheaded by them, and they kind of run with it as a common purpose, as a common objective that or a goal that an organization tends to achieve. And lastly, I think something that we all spoke about, that at times a lot of people face those barriers or encumbrances where they feel that I should not be doing this, or I should not be saying this. This may not be an acceptable behavior, and that's where having those lines of communication open, saying that, say for example, if Nitika and I belong to different departments, I don't have to go to her manager or my manager talking to her manager before I can speak with Nitika. It could be quite seamless, where there is a lot of approachability open and available within the organization. It is not looked down upon. It's not chastised or penalized, to cut across communication lines and speak with people. And that's where a sense of psychological safety allows and enables these kind of things in an organization. I hope I was able to answer your question at least in bits, Nitika.
Yeah, absolutely. The mutual collaborative workforce which you talk about, and you talk about the open door policy, wherein in the organization one could seamlessly talk to each other, instead of following the hierarchy. And unlike in services, in our armed forces, we have to follow a chain, and you just cannot go. And now we are now moving on to the open door policy, but again, you just cannot climb up the ladder and talk. We have, but when I got transition Setu here, it was absolutely different environment for me. There was a complete culture change, so I can relate to it much more in a different way, and I could map it. I could balance, understand that, okay, this is forces and this is corporate, and you need to match it up, and I'm happy to serve both of them. All right,
Awesome.
coming coming to Prableen. Thank you so much, Setu. And now coming back to Prableen. Prableen, for you, the question is, how can team building activities enhance collaboration and performance?
Okay, just in the interest of time, I would like to keep it little short and concise. Yeah, Setu, thank you so much for bringing in so many aspects of collaboration, elements of collaboration. Yeah, beautifully explained. Thank you so much. So again, I would say for me, it's team building enhances collaboration and performance. Okay, again, let's define the three C's which team building would actually contribute to. So team building contributes to first C is cohesive work environment, which Setu highlighted in his conversation as one of the elements of collaboration. Second C is very clear and open communication, which team building promotes. And third is collaboration and cooperation. So all these threes are enhanced and contributed by well-designed team building activities, which are crafted based on the organizational need, not just an activity. Yeah. So I would say that effective team building activity uh, definitely strengthens collaboration and definitely helps to allay internal competitions. Yeah. So now how team building actually fosters a productive work environment, productive work culture. Uh, Effective team building activities give that space to the participants in the activity to build reputation. Yeah, so build rapport with the team members. And this helps in embracing and accepting each other's strengths and weaknesses both. Yeah, so this is very important role which team building activity plays. So when the employees are actually connected at a personal level, that promotes the sense of belonging also, because that promotes the psychological safety. They have a go-to person in the organization. Yeah, another element, Setu, which you have highlighted, that belongingness creates psychological safety net within the organization, and that will enhance the longevity and engagement of the employee within the organization. So team building actually impacts the bottom line of the organization. Now, how it is possible? So, when various teams with different perspectives, embracing each other's strengths, embracing each other's limitations, they come together, they work together on streamlining the processes, which helps in improving the efficiency of the organization and promotes the productivity level of the organization. So, the performance gets enhanced when so many team members they are together now, instead of struggling with each other for the power recognition, or just focusing on their internal rifts or internal conflicts. When they are now together, they will more focus on the solution oriented approach to achieve the organizational goals. So this actually takes away a lot of time, uh, which is actually our own fear, our own anxiety, or our own complexes, insecurities, that takes away when we understand each other well. So many times, we have introduced this program, a simulation program in the organization, where after a couple of months, the new joinee, generally at the functional head level, meets his team. He shares his own personal journey with the team members so that they should be able to relate with him well and understand from where the behavior is being driven. And that breaks the ice between the team members and the functional head so beautifully, that finally they come together and work as a cohesive team, performing team, yeah, promoting the performance culture in the organization. So I would say team building, yeah, it really plays very, very important activities. Joe, they should not be just looked at like a fun activities. They seriously help in breaking the silos in the organization, operating in their own planet. So many islands which work in one organization, such activities help bringing them together in one and make them feel part of one family, not an HR department, finance department, supply chain department. They come together as one organization. So that's how it actually enhances collaboration and enhances performance. Couple of times organizations, what they do, they form those cross-functional teams. What is the purpose of making cross-functional team? Just to bring people from various departments to come together, sit together, discuss together, understand each other's perspective, and come out with some breakthrough solution. Maybe one person was not able to solve, maybe a lot of minds coming together with different perspectives, and and with their own problem solving abilities, they may come out with some breakthrough solution for a couple of positions. Swapping roles, HR person being given a role in the operations, or operations person being given a role in the HR, to understand the pain in each other's shoes
Oh,
and
yeah.
understand that HR plays very important role. They are not just for Rangoli or Diwali in the organization. Yeah. So that plays very important role, and that supports in collaboration and enhancement of productivity, because we understand each other's pain areas, strengths so very well, and we in the longer run appreciates how each one of us is contributing to the organization. Yeah, because a lot of departments they contribute tangibly, and a lot of departments they contribute intangibly, but both these tangible and intangible contributions support in actually achieving the final goal of the organization, and that is towards what each one of the employee work in the organization for. Yeah. Thank you. I hope I have kept it very, very concise, right? Too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And it was a very interesting question. We generally, when we used to do team building exercises, or when they were, get together, when I was serving. So what we used to do is, we got so friendly with the officers there. We got to get to know when we are getting promoted over a cup of drinks, over a
Yeah.
cup of drinks. And there are team building exercises. You go and talk to people, talk to their families, and you take a break and you ask, so when is next file getting signed for promotion, is my name is there or not, which you will not be able to ask because of so many channels officially. But in the high tea breaks, and in dinners we can go ahead and talk. And I think in corporate also, the team building exercises are very, very much, I mean, it's an icebreaker. I get to know so many people out here, and those 20-year-old, 22, they are such a brilliant people, employees here. I was so happy when I got shifted from I would say transitioned from Indian Navy to corporate. I could see I mean, brilliant minds working. Super impressive. So okay, last question, and really quick, Setu, for you. What impact does diversity and inclusion have on fostering a high performance culture? Thank you.
So I think we briefly touched on this one. So firstly, for me, diversity is more about, I think, something that I touched on in terms of skills, experiences, the approach, and the attitude that they kind of bring in, and th- uh, so that's diversity. Diversity, as far as I think a collaborative environment is concerned, that is absolutely paramount and essential. It helps in reducing biases. It improves decision making, and more importantly, the process of decision making in a crazy way. So that's, while I think that happens, that creates a lot of conflicts as such, or I would say good conflicts in an organization. You obviously require, an amazing leader, who may or may not have the designation of a manager, but an amazing leader to kind of channelize people in the right way. Um I'll tell you one small incident. I'll try not to take a lot of time. So we had this person in one of the teams who would be extremely critical about anything that somebody does. Okay. And we at times come across some of these naysayers, right? That they're able to find a fault in almost anything and every approach. And obviously, as an organization, you want to take risks. You can't choose the safest option always. If you want to be innovative, if you want to run ahead, while I think a lot of people started, detesting the person, saying that, let's not go to him, he is going to find faults. There was this one person who would always go to him, and when asked him, he was like that he is my internal auditor. So I go to him not for advice, but I go to him to audit my work. And that was a fantastic thing where people slowly started understanding each other's strengths and focusing on each other's strengths, and how that can be used in a nice tapestry or in a nice maze, to make the best sense of things. So I think with that example, I'll keep it brief, and yeah, back to you.
Thank you so much, Setu. I would say, Faisal there. Over to you, Faisal. Thank you so much, Prableen and Setu, for, answering so, covering each and every aspect of the culture. And it was again a highly enriching session, I must say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nitika. So before we move into the Q&A session, we will be running a poll to have the participants' valuable feedback. During this time, request all the participants to also put your questions in the chat window, which you would want our speakers to address. We'll wait a little while for the questions. Participants, please feel free to put your questions.
I think while Nitika has had the opportunity to ask most of questions, if she has any follow-up questions, she may do. And if somebody has questions for Nitika, they can do that as well.
Absolutely. So I don't think there are any questions. So thank you, Nitika, for guiding us through this session with your intuitive and perceptive insights. Expressing our gratitude to Ms. Prableen and Mr. Setu for generously sharing their valuable thoughts and perspectives. It has truly been an honor to have such distinguished speakers contributing to this engaging session. For those eager to learn and grow, the recording of today's session is available on our YouTube link shared in the chat window. As we wrap up today's session, a special thanks goes to our event partners Geisha, NASSCOM COE, Talgro, TLE, WICCI, LinkedIn Local Ahmedabad and India for their invaluable support to HRA's event. To explore more about these associations, please visit the links provided in the chat window. Join us for our next masterclass series starting from 22nd of July 2024. That concludes today's webinar. We look forward to your participation in future sessions. Wishing you continued health and safety on your journey. Until our paths cross again, take care, stay positive, and farewell for now. Thank you, Setu. Thank you, Pavleen.
Thanks,
Bye.
Nitika,
Thank
for
you
doing
so
Thank
much,
you
this.
so
Setu.
much.
Appreciate
Good
that.
to know you,
Thanks,
Nitika,
Prableen.
too. Yes,
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
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 Thanks. Thanks. Goodbye.